and welcome to Week 9 of In the Huddle, your weekly high school football roundup. I'm Dom Cosentino, the football writer for the Intelligencer. With me, as always, taking a break from his busy Phillies World Series duties, is Kevin Cooney. And how are you today, Kev?
I'm a little fatigued, but we're hanging in there.
Hanging in there as well. So you got a lot to look forward to with the Phillies, obviously, but we've got a lot to talk about with high school football in this area. And Kev, I guess the big story of this week is the big game in the National Conference pitting Pennsbury and Abington.
Yeah, the big game this weekend, really not as big as we thought it would be a couple weeks ago, but Pennsbury comes in undefeated, 8-0, really in the driver's seat to take the top seed in the National, and not just in the National Conference, but in the District 1 playoffs. Abington comes in, they bounced back last week with a nice win over Ben Salem. They kind of pulled away late, had a 20-point second-half outburst. For me, though, Abington has to win this game to get some momentum building towards the playoffs. They're probably going to get in because they played William Tennant the last week, okay? But they need, if this could be the difference between having a home game or not having a home game, and to me, they need to kind of regain some of that magic that they had when they played in the Chamonix earlier in the season. They right now are looking like a team a little bit on a backspin here.
Kev, how do you see these two teams matching up? You've had the opportunity to cover both of them several times this season.
I think Abington is the one team that matches up really well against Pennsbury's speed, especially their defensive speed. You look at a Julian Ireland, you look at a Sam Kine, they can do some different things. Where I think they're going to have trouble is defensively. What do they do against Adante Devine from Pennsbury? The Pennsbury running back who's been tremendous. Can they contain Brandon Pepper on the outside? I don't know if they can, and that's where I think that Pennsbury right now is just so much better than everybody else in the National Conference. They are able to generate offense in with their two big backs that people, they know it's coming, but they can't stop it, and that's the sign of true dominance, in my opinion. Second topic up for debate today here is the continuing situation in the Blue Division AAA branch. It's very confusing, that name.
Whatever they want to call it.
Whatever they want to call it. In the Catholic League. Archbishop Wood and North Catholic will meet this week for the division lead, and also Lansdale Catholic, Newman Goretti meeting for the final playoff spot. Dom, kind of take it one at a time. What do you see out of Wood right now? This has been the portion of the schedule they've tended to clean up on.
Well, Archbishop Wood will not lose again in the AAA division this season. They're playing that well on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively, particularly with Jerry Rahill back at quarterback. He's been terrific for them the last few weeks, but their defense is really just kind of the dominant element in that division. They play North this week. North has a terrific running back in Eugene Bird, but beyond that, they're pretty one-dimensional, and I think Wood will be able to devise a game plan to stop him, and I don't see North being able to score many points this Saturday. That then gives Wood, the top seed in the division. You figure North would be number 2 since they beat Conwell Egan over the weekend. Egan would then be the 3rd seed. And then the 4th and the 5th, ironically, is going to be the 4th seed will come down to the game between Lansdale Catholic and Newman Goretti, as you mentioned. Even though LC has just one win this year, they've got a chance to get in if they're able to beat Newman Goretti this weekend at 10th and Bigler on Saturday night. So, and then it'll be Wood and LC again in the first round, but I just don't see anyone beating Wood.
You got to love the fact that every team makes the playoffs, that a one-win team here is being actively talked about possibly making a tournament. But when you look at the way Wood dominates, getting back to the top, Wood seems like they jump on teams and then they kind of take teams' will away. I could see that happening against North Catholic. They'll jump on top of them early, and eventually it snowballs into a 35, 40-point victory. That's been the MO for Wood so far.
And a lot of that has been their defense has sort of been what's fed that. I mean, they played so well defensively that Lansdale Catholic has a very good fullback in Devin Barrett, and they held him to 17 yards, and LC had 19 total rushing yards on Saturday. It was just an all-out flying to the ball effort by Wood, and they are the best team in that league, heads and shoulders. And I think this week's game with North is going to show that, and then what they do in the 2 rounds of the playoffs in that league is going to show that. It will then be interesting to see what happens with Wood beyond that when they play the District 1 champion in what will be the state quarterfinal round. Probably going to be Pottsgrove the way they look.
Right.
Obviously we're looking 4 or 5 weeks ahead, but I just don't see Wood losing before the state quarterfinals at this point. And now it's time for America's favorite quick hit segment, 4 Downs. And
Well done, by the way.
Kevin, what do you see with the Morrisville Bulldogs after that kind of demoralizing loss to Jenkintown?
Boy, I don't know how they bounced back from that one last week. Matt Cookson last week just said it was kind of the same thing as haunted Morrisville all these years. Came back and haunted them again the other night. That's a game you have to beat. Jenkintown is not a good football team, and they got demolished in the weather. I think Morrisville right now is going to be looking on the outside looking in at the playoffs at this point. Palisades plays Southern Lehigh this week. What can we expect?
Well, it's going to be an interesting game for the Pirates in that if they win, they could possibly position themselves for a home game in the District 11 playoffs. Now, I haven't run the numbers to see how exactly it's going to play out given some of the upstate schools that are in the district. But this would be a huge win for Palisades power points, just given that Southern Lehigh's got a pretty good record. And then they close with Saucon Valley. But a good opportunity for Palisades here to get to 6-3 heading into as they gear toward the playoffs. They're right in that mix in that 18 field in 2A in District 11, and they can stay right there by beating a quality opponent this week. And since you're going to be spending the rest of the week around the Phillies and Yankees, can we get your World Series prediction?
Right now, I don't trust Joe Girardi as far as I can throw him as far as managing. I think the Yankees probably have a little bit better lineup, but I'm picking the Phillies in 6-1 because they're tough as heck to pick against. And 2, quite frankly, Girardi just is going to overmanage the bullpen, and I don't think the Yankee bullpen, with the exception of Mariano, is all that good.
We'll see what happens. I have a ticket for Game 4, so we'll see.
You can at least watch. I'll be working. Well, I know you cannot agree with me possibly on this, so who do you like in the series?
I don't entirely disagree, but I'm kind of leaning toward going Yankees in 7. I think the two teams' lineups are as powerful as any out there, but I think the Phillies have almost been having everything go their way. So, at some point, maybe something's not going to happen for them. The Yankees just kind of win things like this, don't they?
Yeah, Philadelphia always seems to lose things like this.
Well, except for last year. I mean, everybody in this town seems to forget that they did win a championship last year.
Yeah, but it was the Rays.
Well, now it's the Yankees. And it's not going to be
The Yankees are a lot different than the Rays, though.
It's just not going to be as easy.
No, it's not.
That's the only point I'm making.
Or warm, for that matter.
And I don't have a horse in this race, but I'm saying Yankees in 7. It's going to be a heck of a series.
And he has his 2 titles already, so he can speak.
And the Penguins are likely to repeat, I might add. So.
We'll be back next week. Remember to pick up Sunday's paper for the Scholastic Sports Wrap that we have, and all the Friday Night Football, all the box scores, everything. You wanted it, you got it. It's in our Sunday Sports section. That is the way to look. Also, Bucksmont Sports Now is our website to take a look for game results as they happen on Friday nights. For Dom Cosentino, I'm Kevin Cooney. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week here in the Huddle.